Good morning, Bear Nation. We're going to see if we can get this done and get this done quickly. I have a site meeting at 07 here in Perryton, Texas, home of the stuff destroyed by tornadoes.com. What's up? I'm Bear from the internet. We're going to do the Bear Brief today, 19th of Goon, 2023. You know, do all the YouTube things, man. If you're new here, subscribe, ring the little bell icon, blah, blah, blah. If you're not new here, share the damn show with somebody that you love. Okay, Bear? All right, good talk, everybody. Bear Independent Brief, 19th of Goon, 2023. Recently, a massive cyber attack has affected millions of Americans. A Russian hacker group, Klop, which is a wonderful name, has taken credit for the attack. The group has demanded large ransoms before, but so far it appears that this time the group is focused on fleecing large corporations rather than government agencies. I don't know, if they're... I don't think there's a whole lot of altruism in that, right? But at least it's not the government getting hacked this time. We'll see. Rafe Pilling, director of threat research at SecureWorks, told CNN, "The activity we're seeing at the moment, adding company names to their leak site, is a tactic to scare victims, both listed and unlisted, into paying." For what it's worth, the hackers wrote on their dark website, quote, "If you are a government, city, or police service, do not worry. We erased all your data. You do not need to contact us. We have no interest to expose such information." End quote. Maybe. Oh yeah, I totally erased that. Imagine somebody had some compromising photos of you and they were on a thumb drive. And you're like, "Hey man, you deleted those photos, right?" And you're like, "Absolutely." You're like, "Cool, give me my thumb drive back." And they're like, No. I'm just going to hang on to that for a moment." How comfortable would you feel? Ooh, the sun creepeth over thine horizon. Let's all speak in King Jimmy today. Sound good? Verily. Many organizations, including federal and state agencies, have been impacted by massive security breaches, and the Department of Energy is amongst them, the DOE. Yay. Listen to this. Louisiana's Office of Motor Vehicles has said that all individuals in the state who have driver's licenses, identification cards, or car registrations issued by the state may have had their personal information exposed by the hack. All Louisiana DMV, essentially. Oregon's DMV has said that roughly 3.5 million in their state have also been impacted. Forgive me for not knowing Oregon's population off the top of my head. Let's see if we can Google machine that real quick. I should have had that pulled up, but I don't. Oregon population. 4.246 million, according to the Google on the 21st, or in 2021. So call it 4.3 million. 3.5 million people in Oregon have also been impacted by these data breaches. So 80+%. The data exposed includes not just names, addresses, birth dates, but social security numbers, driver's license numbers, vehicle registration information, eye color, and so forth. It is possible that hundreds of companies and organizations have been compromised in this data breach. In fact, this breach even extends across oceans because of the multinational nature of the affected corporations, including BBC, British Airways, and Aon. Now, I have some friends that, they're younger than I am. They're in the, let's make tons of babies phase right now, which is great. Mazel tov. It's awesome. But it's interesting to me how much normal people do not want their children to participate in the system. They're like, yeah, no social security number, no birth records, don't take my kid's photograph, which sounds like, excuse me, I guess a little extreme. But then when you think about it, it's like, what's more extreme? You taking care of your kid or the government taking care of your kid? And clearly, like, in these data breaches, they're not, even if they could be trustworthy with your information, what makes you think that somebody else isn't going to get a hold of your information? I mean, don't even start me on a social security number. Like, that's your tracking number, right? Just like a bank, right? And a bank account has a routing number. That's your people routing number. Why does the government need that for you? Stupid. Because of the widespread, massive nature of this hacking offense, consider this your reminder. You need to regularly check on your credit reports if you're going to play the Babylonian games. And check on your accounts and check on your Social Security benefits. If your credit isn't frozen, place a security freeze on it now with all 3 major credit reporting agencies. A fraud alert placed on your major credit file can also make your identity a harder target, and you can request an identity protection PIN from the Internal Revenue Service to prevent unauthorized tax filings. I wish one of y'all would file my taxes. Go for it. I'd be like, nope, that's authorized. I don't know who's fixing to pay all this money, but it ain't me, so cool. Sounds good. Speaking of all this money, over at RT, the clock is ticking on U.S. financial hegemony. Hegemony. Pick a word. The clock is ticking on U.S. financial hegemony. America will cease to exist as a global economic powerhouse in 10 years, according to Anatoly Aksakov. The reason I bring this up is 10 years. It's interesting because some people are like, it's happening on Tuesday. And other people are like, I don't know, another 30 to 50 years. This guy says 10 years. So just one more data point for you. From the article, mounting debt and a reliance on sanctions have jeopardized U.S. credibility as an economic partner. Also remember, this is Russian propaganda designed explicitly to make the United States sound weak. Now, doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that that's the angle at which they're coming to this. Mounting debt and reliance on sanctions has jeopardized U.S. credibility as an economic partner and may soon shatter its image as a global financial superpower. Anatoly Askakov, the head of the Duma's Financial Market Committee, told Izvestia news outlet at St. Peter's International Economic Forum on Thursday. According to a senior lawmaker, the U.S. share in global trade turnover is rapidly dropping, a trend likely to continue in the coming years. Quote, we see that the U.S. share in world trade has shrunk to about 70%, in part due to sanctions against Russia, which undermined confidence in the U.S. currency. Previously, 70% of international trade was serviced by the dollar. Now it is 60%. Can you imagine 10% in just a short period of time? This is significant. Naturally, this process will continue because the U.S. undermines partners' trust with their actions. So, of course, not in 1 or 2 years, but in 10 years, America as a great financial power will cease to exist, Askakov stated. He noted that apart from the flaws in its foreign policy, the U.S. has been plagued by problems due to its economic policies at home. Quote, the U.S. can one of these days let everyone down because effectively it cannot pay its debts. The gross domestic product it produces is less than the debts it accumulates, and whatever the country earns will not be enough to pay its debts. Meanwhile, the U.S. keeps borrowing all over the world to pay out by building up domestic debt. So eventually, there will come a time when where there will be so much debt that it will become impossible to fulfill obligations, and then the U.S. economy will collapse, says Askakov. Blah, blah, blah. U.S. narrowly avoided its first ever debt default earlier this month. Biden's signed more trillions of dollars in debt. Blah, 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 blah. That's the end of that article. I just like the timing on that. And then, as a brief mention from the Blaze, which, oh my gosh, is just getting worse and worse and worse. The quality, everything about the Blaze website, I don't know, I haven't listened to the radio in years. But everything about the Blaze website is just getting pop-up ads, and like every third news story is an ad, and then it's like, sign up to defend free speech, give Glenn Beck $20, and like on every site, like on every page. It's getting bad. They're monetizing too hard. Stop, slow down just a little bit. I know you guys are like, oh, it's time for Bear to talk about value exchange again at the end of the show. It's like, first of all, I tell you it's at the end of the show. You can leave if you want to. No hard feelings. I bid you adieu. Second of all, have you looked at theblaze.com lately? Like, you think I'm monetizing hard? Holy shit, dude. Like, everything is an email acquisition or a click funnel or an opt-in. Like, anyway, from the Blaze, box office bomb. Disney's Elemental animated movie about xenophobia, featuring its first non-binary character, could be Pixar's worst earning opening ever. Good. I'm not going to read you all the blah blahs in this. This article's long and stupid. I'll read you just a little bit. You can find it at the Blaze. New animated movie Elemental is Disney's first film with non-binary characters. However, the children's movie is flopping at the box office in its opening weekend and could be the lowest earning Pixar movie in the studio's history. The movie, which is rated for children ages 6 and up, tackles racism and xenophobia. The film also features Disney's first ever non-binary character. And then it goes into the plot of the movie. I don't care. It's flopping. It's flopping bad. Elemental is the 27th feature film from Pixar Animation Studios, but it could also be one of the most disappointing. CNBC reported Disney's animation rut continued with the release of Elemental, which is expected to have Elemental, which sounds a lot like Elemental P, which sounds a lot like LGBTQIA+. Disney's animation rut continued with the release of Elemental, which is expected to have the second lowest opening of any wide-release Pixar film in the studio's history. Estimates peg the film's debut at $29.5 million, just higher than the $29.1 million Toy Story, Pixar's first ever theatrical release, which opened in 1995. And obviously the Toy Story franchise has done incredibly well since then. Point is, the movie's hot dog shit, and it's about like liberal propaganda, and nobody wants to watch it. And Disney is not a trusted brand, a trusted agency anymore. Like Disney World, how many? 291? No, was it 600? Whatever it was hundreds of Disney World employees that were involved in a trafficking ring in Disney World. Yeah, like hand-selecting children to be trafficked out of Disney World. I'll never go there now. Like, never, not one time. And then Disney is woke AF, and all their content sucks. Why give them any money? You know, I have a little kid. I would love to be able to take her to Disney World, right? Every little girl wants to be a princess, right? And Disney used to espouse and reinforce just our commonly held decent human being beliefs. And now you gotta shove this elemental P bullshit down my throat. No, not gonna give you any money. Period, the end. And these major iconic brands like Disney are gonna fall. They're gonna fail. They're gonna go away. as they should, laissez-faire capitalism. That's the brief for today. Please forgive me, it's a brief, and also please forgive me, I'm not terribly awake yet. Whoever made the coffee this morning, it is so hot that I can barely hold my cup. And that is my first sip of coffee today. Patreon.com. Go to patreon.com, search for Bear Independent, or follow the link in the description if you would like to. This morning you will find June or Goon Q&A Part 2 up on Patreon. Refuge Medical, HSA, and FSA approved handmade, made in America first aid kits. In fact, the gentleman who was life number 79 saved at Refuge Medical is here on site with us in Texas, so we can do disaster relief stuff today. And just so you're aware, he drove down from Wisconsin to be here in the Texas Panhandle. So, you know, Bear, I'd love to come volunteer, but I live 3 towns over. Okay, cool. I live 8 or 9 hours away from here, as does everybody else. So come help if you want to, which is Grindstone, but right now we're talking about Refuge. I have no idea what the kid of the week is because I haven't talked to anybody at the office today, and it's Monday morning. But I do have right here to illustrate to you a Bearfac inner. This Bearfac inner has been in an outer pouch on a rucksack for 2 years. And look at it. It's like new. It's like new. And in a situation like this, where you've got, angry wind spinning in a circle at 150 plus miles per hour, people getting lacerated, chopped up, bad stuff happens. Having some medical equipment makes a lot of sense. And so whether it's just, when the world ends, SHTF, or it's, a natural disaster, a hurricane, a tornado, a flooding, a storm, whatever, having some medical capability, strongly recommended. I've been here since 6 a.m. Friday morning, and I've rendered aid twice since I've been here. And not to our guys, to other people. And that was after the tornado. So, anyway, my point is, have a good first aid kit, know how to use it, do all the things, keep them handy. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, do you have a med kit? I just started laughing. They're like, it wasn't us, it was a lady from the Red Cross. I was like, yeah, I have a first aid kit. She's like, okay. She's like, where is it? I was like, well, I have one in my pocket. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, I have one in my pocket. The pocket from Refuge Medical, right there, which of course is made in the USA. So I got one in my pocket. Then I got a EMT bag in my truck, and then I've got a search and rescue bag in my truck, and then I've got a stomp bag in my truck, and I've got an adventure kit in my truck, and I've got a significant boo-boo kit in my truck, plus all the IFAKs that are on my gear in my truck. And she was like, oh. I was like, yeah, we fiberglassy. I was like, yeah, don't worry about med stuff. We got med stuff. So if you don't got med stuff or you need more med stuff, refugemedical.com. Refuge Training has some class dates up coming up in Oklahoma. But Bear, it's not 3 towns over from me. I'm not going to be able to make it. It's more than 40 miles. Okay. Don't come to class then. Hope you don't need that training that I mentioned that life number 79 saved is here on site today. Yeah. RefugeTraining.com. Don't be an ass, come to class. It's way better than you think it's going to be. How do I know that? Because thousands of people have already told me that. just come to class. Just subordinate your ego, get in the vehicle, come to class. Now, last but not least, grindstoneministries.com. If you've been here for any length of time, you know that occasionally after a hurricane or tornado schwacks a neighborhood or a town or a city, we wheels up and go help people put their lives back together again. That's what we're doing right now. We're in Perryton, Texas. If you'd like to participate or support this mission, go to grindstoneministries.com. There's also a donate button there, which supports not just what we're doing right now, but it also supports the ongoing costs and the building of Caleb House, which is a juvenile human trafficking survivor restoration facility, which is a bunch of $50 words, which means a place where we put together kiddos who we have rescued from assholes who were raping them. And we make sure that bad shit happens to bad people. Yes, sometimes. That's you right there, Mr. Bad Guy. Yep, you. You're exactly who I'm talking about. I'm going to cavitate your cranium the moment I see you. And I don't mean that as a broad general statement. I mean that as some of the assholes who do research on us here at this channel. Cool. That's awesome. Please come find me. I'm in Perryton, Texas. Come see me. Unafraid. So, human trafficking survivors, juvenile human trafficking survivors, there's only 420 beds in the entire country sanctioned by DHS, which is they are the people who have oversight. 420 national beds, 83,000 children a month go missing. So we're building Caleb House as another restoration facility to get that number of 420 beds up. And my goal is at some point to become the McDonald's of restoration facilities, minus the trans fats and all of that. But I want to franchise this thing out until there's so many of them that we don't need them anymore. I want to work my way out of a job. And so if you'd like to make sure that bad shit happens to pedophiles, and I mean that literally, and I think we're one of the only organizations that is explicit about this. If you want to make sure that bad shit happens to pedophiles and that we're rescuing and restoring children, grindstoneministries.com. Come see us. So a lot of other people that are like, will dance around the phraseology. Like, I wouldn't quite say it that way. I don't know if that's right. No. Believe me. Trust me. #rockpile. And I get a lot of people who are like, well, that's not what Jesus would do. Well, you should read your effing Bible. He who causes the least of these to stumble, it would be better that a millstone was tied around his neck and he was thrown into the sea. Then I get some of y'all who are like, well, that's not the interpretation of that. Well, you should read what it says in black and white. And then maybe we could talk about interpretation later. All that to say, I must go. I have to do a different brief in 11 minutes for the team here. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Shalom.